Welcome back, YouTube, to episode 4 of the GY6 build series. We're converting a Honda Ruckus to a GY6 Honda Ruckus. It has a stock 50cc in it. Beforehand, actually, be honest, we filmed that like about 4 months before this build series even came out. And I've just been putting the clips out in the build series. We had to test all of this for like 4 months to make sure it was, going to work, the design and everything. In this episode, we're doing installing the GY6 engine into the Honda Ruckus with the Composimo mount. So this is a how-to video, how to install a GY6 engine into a Ruckus. Last episode we removed the engine, the get motor they call it. That's the stock Honda motor. And then a little surprise here. So here is our star of the show here. And I've been working on, so it was complete and now I've taken it back apart again to install fuel injection system. Oh yeah. So it was perfectly running fine on the carbureted engine, and now we've made it a fuel injected engine. And I have been tuning it. It's not perfect yet. It's a work in progress, but here's a little sample. Oh yeah. So, watch the video to the end. That'll be the carbureted version. And then this was just a little preview of what you're gonna see next. This is Uncle Phil's bike. He's not even my uncle. It's my friend's uncle, but I call him Uncle Phil. And he's been the guinea pig for all this. But this is the bike, the completed bike. He actually switched the exhaust out. He didn't like the big exhaust that we put on in the original, I think it was what, episode 2? Not much to look at right now because it's in pieces, but watch the rest of this episode. This is episode number 4. The GY6 is going in this bike. Check it out. All right, so now we've got this stock rear brake cable. We need to remove the cable. So there's a 10mm or an 8mm nut under here. Loosen that. I've already hit it with the impact just so it's finger tight. And then unscrew the top with a Phillips head, just like that. And then pull that through, and then the lever will come off. This rubber and the cable through, just like that. And you can remove that cable. Down on the bottom, the rear brake cable is attached by a bracket that has a 10mm nut right here. Remove that 10mm nut. It's underneath the gas tank here. Like that. See that bracket there? Now install your brand new GY6 cable just the same way that you pulled the old stock cable off. Alright, now we've got our Ruckus stripped down, motor's out, harness is disconnected. This is the stock harness. We're going to start grinding some tabs off. I'm going to grind this tab off here, and this guy. It needs to sit. You need to grind it flat, and you can paint it if you'd like so it doesn't rust. But this guy is going to go right here. Notice it won't sit flat with those welds. So we're grinding those off. So your gas tank is here, and if you're going to be grinding, you might want to remove your gas tank. That's what I would do. Actually, that's what I recommend you do. I'm not going to. I'm just going to cover it up, but that's what you should do. Remove the gas tank. So here is the smooth surface. Now we can mount that, but I'm going to paint this roughly just so it doesn't rust, and then we're going to drill some holes here so that we can fit these bolts through these holes. One more tab that needs to be grinded off is this guy, this loop. So just recap, grinding that guy off, grinded this plate, these two little guys here. And then the easiest way to get this started is get a crescent wrench and bend it back and forth first. You could do this. This makes it a little easier. Just bend it back and forth. Like that. Now grind this little tab off. There's one on the top and one on the bottom. Alright, these are grinded off. These guys are grinded off. Now, drill some holes so they fit the screws. Drill these holes out. You want to drill them, you got these screws here, so that this screw will fit right through here. You got to make sure you get all the bottom out. You might have to grind the bottom out. It's going to be a clean hole all the way through because there's going to be a nut that comes in from the bottom. I've drilled a hole all the way through, and then if you look up underneath, I've also grinded there so that basically you can put a nut back there and there's no metal shavings or anything sticking up. Now we'll paint this. Alright, I've got it all painted. It's not like a pro job, but it's all going to be covered. The only real point of that is so it doesn't rust. And then you'll install, you could do it either way, but we're doing the C forward with the screw through there, or bolt, not screw, bolt through there, and then see how this is here. I'm going to do it that way, just like that. And you can just use an impact to get it slightly through. It's like that, and then you'll do a washer and nylon nut. No need for Loctite on this, since there's a nylon nut behind it. And this guy is a 8mm Allen and a 17mm nut under here. Let's get that tightened. So I've just installed this shock bracket. I loosened these bolts at the top because I was having some trouble getting this bolt in. But if you notice, I've tightened this guy. Now I'm just going to keep everything kind of loose. This is a 9/16 American SAE, and then this guy is an 8mm. And get that started. So these were 3/16. Got these tightened down. If you notice, it just hooks around just like that. I had these loosened. Those are the 6mm metric, and then I tightened this guy down, the 8mm, and this is where the shocks actually mount. So we've got everything kind of in place, and the next step is installing this bad boy. And it's going to go right between there, just like that. So start off by first removing these caps, 3/16 and the 8mm here. Remove these caps first. So then you just mount this guy up there like this. We want to lightly start these. I'm going to put some red Loctite on these screws before I put them in. Just get them started, don't tighten them down. So the idea is to lightly, so you can move it around just like this. It's actually a little too tight on this one. Got to be able to move it, so that's good for now. Now I'm just gonna put this shock in here. There's washers on each side of everything. So washer on this side, washer on this side, this side, and this side. 4 total washers. Washer on the back. You don't have to do Loctite on this because it has nylon washers. I'm just gonna keep that loose, but here we go. Okay, so there's this piece here. Notice this little arrow. That's gonna go up like that, and then you'll have this this guy here, so just like this. So I've kind of placed the motor on the stand underneath the scooter. this bolt is going to go through, or this long bolt here is going to go through there. Of course, the stand's not going to be in the way. And then I just kind of mocked it up to see where we're at here. Alright, so when you get your shock in, you'll put a spacer in there. Mount your bolt through there, and then you notice I have this here. Basically, I turned the shock. Zoom out. Turn the shock. Keep turning it until we get to some space there, because you got a really close tolerance on the shock here. So by raising it up, you kind of move it away from the tire. So do that, and you got the bolt through here with the washer, and then the actual mount, followed by a washer right in there, and then the linkage, and then the nut, and then basically the long end this way and there, and then you got the nut, the washer, a spacer, a washer, then the mount, washer, linkage, spacer, washer and a nut. So everything's tight. And then here's the profile. Let me go around. Looking good. Everything's kind of mounted up. And then I pulled this guy out, moved it back so that otherwise it's just running right into the tire. Notice that? And then I ran my cable down, around, through here, over, and then we're going to install it here, but I need to grab the spacer. Okay, now once you have your cable ran, you see this little spacer here. You're going to slide that through just like that. Slide this through the hole. The whole point of this spacer is so it doesn't hit the wheel. So if you notice, I moved this arm back, otherwise it was hitting the wheel. And I installed the spring, of course, and then the little spacer. And then I mounted I use this off the Honda motor. It's a little cable holder. So that way, when I can squeeze it, there's no binding whatsoever. Perfect. That's how the cable's routed, just like that. Now this hose here is the breather hose for the top of the head. That's going to go up. You're going to snip it, and it'll get tucked in that uni filter. Basically what this does is it takes it. There's a little mist of oil that comes out from the head breather, and that's just going to go back into the filter. Here is the stock GY6 carburetor mount for the cable. I've got these screws like halfway started. We need to take it and flip it around. So I flipped the bracket upside down, or basically around, and you notice how I bolted this up just like that. So now when I pull the throttle back, everything works the way it should. Okay, and then your fuel hose isn't going to be long enough, so right here is a one-way valve. Keep that. Don't remove it. Just remove the hose from it, just like that. And hook up your helix line here. Put the clamp on, like that. And then you can run your hose up through here. And then it just plugs in right here, just like that. So you got plenty of hose. Alright, everything's in place. Motor's installed, brake cable works, throttle cable works. Now all we have left is the wiring harness. This is the fun part. Alright, well thanks for watching that whole episode 4 build series, installing that GY6 into the Honda Ruckus. I really appreciate it. You guys are giving me the ability to do what I love to do, which is build cool stuff and provide good content for you guys. So If you haven't subscribed already, hit that little subscribe button. There's also a little blue bell. Hit that. You'll be notified when new videos come out. And if you want, you can head over to my Instagram page or my Facebook. Those need a little bit of help. Episode 5 is going to be installing that wiring harness into this hot rod. So we'll see you in the next video.